In the aftermath of the second awe-inspiring Starship test flight, SpaceX's visionary CEO Elon Musk has been engaging with space lovers around the globe. They're all eager to know more about the world's mightiest rocket, and just recently, Elon revealed some thrilling information that set the space community abuzz. On November 24th, Elon shared an image showcasing not one, not two, but 4 starships in production at the bustling starbase in Boca Chica. These magnificent vessels were numbered 28, 29, 30, and 32, and what makes them truly special is that they mark the grand finale of the Starship V1 series. This raises one burning question: what's in store for Starship V2? Thankfully, Elon wasn't keeping us in suspense for long. When a curious Twitter user inquired about the next version of Starship, Musk graciously spilled the cosmic beans. According to him, Starship V2 is set to revolutionize space travel. It's designed to carry even more propellant, shed some dry mass, and enhance its reliability. Now, let's decode these clues. The increased propellant capacity hints at a more ambitious future. Back in 2021, Elon hinted at the possibility of adding 3 more vacuum engines to Starship, which could skyrocket its payload lift capacity by a staggering 50%, from 150 to 220 tons. Imagine the possibilities. But wait, what about that tricky part of lowering the dry mass while adding more propellant and engines? Well, the genius minds at SpaceX may be experimenting with cutting-edge techniques. Think lighter, stronger materials that can help trim down the weight without sacrificing structural integrity. The timing of all this couldn't be more exciting. With these last 4 starships, SpaceX can conduct extensive tests well into the next year. Plus, they'll have the breathing space to construct specialized test vehicles for mind-boggling feats like orbital refueling and lunar landings. The latest scoop hot off the SpaceX launch pad revolves around the tantalizing question: when will we witness the next massive launch of the Starship Super Heavy rocket? Elon Musk provided us with a thrilling peek behind the scenes during a Q&A session on social media that took place on November 19th. In response to the eager inquiries of space enthusiasts worldwide, Elon Musk, who's renowned for his optimistic timelines, revealed a rather precise estimate. He confidently stated Starship Flight 3 hardware should be ready to fly in 3 to 4 weeks. Now, for those of us familiar with Elon's track record of timekeeping, this level of specificity demands our attention. Why the precision this time? Well, let's dive into the rocket science of it all. You see, there's a crucial distinction between having the hardware ready for launch and actually receiving the green light to launch. The former involves meticulous engineering, construction, and testing, all of which SpaceX has been feverishly working on. As you cast your eyes towards the high bay at Starbase Boca Chica, a quick glance reveals the presence of not 1, not 2, but 3 nearly complete Starship vehicles. If you look even closer, you'll spot a 4th one still undergoing assembly, but more on that in a moment. But the plot thickens. SpaceX isn't just about Starship, they've got the booster game down too. Booster 10 is primed and practically ready for takeoff. Not to be outdone, Booster 11 recently returned from SpaceX's secondary test range at the McGregor facility, indicating that it's prepped for its cosmic performance. With these developments, it appears that at least the next 2 flights are poised to soar, and there are more waiting in the wings, ready for their moment in the spotlight. Now, what stands between us and the epic liftoff? SpaceX must complete rigorous pressure and cryoproofing testing, along with a series of static fires. This step is essential to ensure that everything functions as flawlessly as possible. Assuming these tests go off without a hitch, the certification of the next pair of launch candidates should take approximately 2 weeks, a mere cosmic blink of an eye in the grand scheme of space exploration. But what about the remaining time Elon Musk mentioned? That likely accounts for the minimal repairs to the orbital launch mount and parts of the tower. These enhancements are vital for ensuring the utmost safety during launches. In fact, the November 18th tests revealed something truly remarkable. SpaceX's recent upgrades to their Stage 0 launch hardware proved to be exceptionally effective. They've achieved a level of equipment safety that even NASA would envy. To drive this point home, Elon Musk proudly shared photos of himself standing beneath the orbital launch mount on November 19th. The images showcase minimal damage to the structure, despite enduring the colossal force of the world's most potent rocket as it roared to life during liftoff. Now, let's venture into the realm of comparisons to grasp the magnitude of SpaceX's progress. When SpaceX's Starship gracefully bounced back from its second test flight, it stood in stark contrast to NASA's Artemis 1 launch, which left their space launch system, Launchpad, in a somewhat devastated state. It's safe to say that the Starship's second flight marked a significant improvement from its inaugural outing. What does this mean for the repair and testing phase? Well, the good news is that there won't be an extensive amount of time needed for repairs and testing of the launch hardware. This in turn leads us to a subject that's both essential and necessary to navigate the cosmos: the Federal Aviation Administration. Whether SpaceX is primed for liftoff by late December is just part of the equation. They still require the FAA's stamp of approval to proceed with another test flight. The FAA kicked off a mishap report immediately after Booster 9's flip and explosion, which entails an investigative period. But here's where things start to brighten up. With minimal damage to the launch pad, SpaceX won't have to undergo extensive alterations to satisfy the FAA's safety requirements. The primary focus will likely be on replacing the quick disconnect on the tower's chopstick arms and refurbishing the orbital launch mount, potentially including panel replacement and a fresh coat of paint. Since no new launch hardware is in the cards, the time-consuming environmental investigations from the first test flight won't need to be repeated. Additionally, one of the major concerns from the initial test flight, the flight termination system, not functioning correctly, didn't rear its head this time around. According to SpaceX, Booster 9's FTS activated as the booster began to disintegrate, and Ship 25's FTS was manually activated by the ground crew when telemetry was lost, as per their own report. However, there's a slight hiccup with Starship's FTS. A sizable portion of the upper stage survived the explosion. Now, this isn't a significant issue since the current regulations mandate that the FTS only needs to break up the volatile fuel containers, and most of the nose cone wasn't likely to survive the re-entry all the way to the ground. In the ever-evolving space race, regulations have to catch up with innovation, and that's precisely what's happening with SpaceX's Starship. The current regulations were established before anything like Starship was even conceptualized. This leads to a critical point. The FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, might interpret recent events as a cue to nudge SpaceX toward designing a flight termination system, FTS, capable of destroying even the robust nose cone of this colossal rocket. Regulations are a dynamic aspect of space exploration, and as Starship pushes the boundaries of what's possible, regulatory adjustments may follow. But there's a catch, a delightful one at that. SpaceX might be eyeing a Christmas-time launch. The clock is ticking, and they have a lot of ground to cover if they intend to meet their ambitious 2025 target for the Artemis 3 mission. While we've expressed skepticism about their ability to hit that deadline, we're more than willing to be proven wrong, safely of course. The pressure is on, and as for any forthcoming third Starship test flight, this new information has the potential to accelerate the schedule significantly. Previously, we speculated that a January test flight seemed unlikely, with February being the most plausible timeframe, and May as a safe bet. However, with an abundance of flight hardware essentially ready to go, it's inconceivable that SpaceX won't secure a launch license by January at the latest. With the FAA feeling the heat lately, they might even conclude their investigation before the holiday break. If that happens, we might witness an epic showdown between IF-3 and ULA's Vulcan for the title of the most spectacular Christmas launch. In a recent advisory council meeting at NASA, the agency expressed confidence that its upcoming Mars Escapade mission could be ready to launch by August 2024 at the earliest. While they acknowledge some uncertainty around the launch date, there's unwavering faith that the mission will journey to the Red Planet, riding atop Blue Origin's prototype heavy-lift rocket, the New Glenn. This exciting revelation came from Bradley Smith, the director of NASA's Launch Services Office, during a meeting with the Human Exploration and Operations Committee on November 20th. His palpable excitement hints at the mission's imminent nature, possibly within a year. However, there's a twist. The contract holder for this mission is Blue Origin, a company notorious for guarding their rocket development progress closely. Blue Origin's journey with New Glenn began around 2016 when they unveiled plans for their reusable launch vehicle. However, progress has been somewhat bumpy, marked by setbacks related to their BE-4 engines and the pandemic. Despite these hurdles, they secured several military and government contracts, including the critical Escapade mission. This mission, involving the escape and plasma acceleration and dynamics explorers, boasts the potential to be a game-changer for both companies. It's a remarkable opportunity, but it all hinges on Blue Origin's ability to get their rocket working on time. The company's tight-lipped approach to their technology makes it challenging to gauge their progress accurately. However, history has shown that whenever they've postponed initial launch tests before, NASA's excitement soared. So the likelihood is that New Glenn will take its maiden flight in 2024, at least for the first test. As for Escapade, we'll eagerly await the results of Blue Origin's quiet engineering efforts during testing. So are you excited about the prospects of Starship V2? Share with us in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, show us some love by hitting that like button and leaving a comment down below. Also, if you're a fan of all things technology, be sure to check out this other video we've got lined up for you. It's packed with all the latest news, tips, and tricks to keep you ahead of the curve.